There is so much to do in Disneyland, you couldn't possibly do it all in 1 or even 10 trips. That's why we've got our Disney bucket list, the top 10 things that we would love to do that we haven't yet, and we're gonna share it with you. Hello everybody, welcome to RTD Adventures. My name is Brian.
My name is Jacob.
And we're here to talk about some of the great things we would like to try at Disneyland because there's so much to do. It doesn't matter how many times we've been before, there's still foods we haven't eaten. There's events we haven't been to. There's different shows that we haven't seen. And quite frankly, there's some cool stuff that we just can't quite afford yet.
Yeah.
So we're here to talk about the top 5 things that each of us would love to do at Disney before we kick the bucket.
That means die. So starting with number 5, I'd say character breakfast with my daughters. So my wife and I just had a little one 2 months ago, and then we also have a 3-year-old. So as soon as we get a little bit older, I'd like to take them to Disneyland, and I would love to do a character breakfast with them. I just think they would have a great time. I'd love to see the expression on their face. I love buffets, so I just think we'd all have a good time, but I just think that's just one thing I definitely really want to do at least at some point in my life.
So for my number 5, I would love to meet Oswald. If you can't tell already, Oswald is my favorite character, and you don't get a lot of representation of Oswald in the parks. Last time we went to Disneyland, not us, but last time I went with my wife, I literally bought everything Oswald I could find in the parks, and it all fit in one bag. Yeah. There's not a lot of stuff. And Oswald doesn't even make that many appearances. So every time I've gone to California Adventure, I've looked for Oswald, but he hasn't been there on those days. So that's definitely something on my bucket list. I would just love to meet Oswald in person.
All right, so for my number 4, I chose to go to a themed, ticketed event. I've never done that before, so we're talking like Star Wars night, couples night. I've never been to any of these. I would love to do at least one, specifically Star Wars night. I would love to do that. So if you guys wouldn't let me, mind not taking all the tickets, I would love to go. I want to see all the characters. I want to see all the exclusive things that are offered at these events. I just think it'd be really special. All the different foods that are offered, and of course, like photography, opportunities. But yep, that's my number 4.
And may the 4th one on my list be related to Star Wars. I would love to go to Star Wars in Disneyland on May the 4th. I want to just visit and hang out in Galaxy's Edge for May the 4th. I love Star Wars. That's actually, my fandom for that goes back a lot further than Disney does itself. So the fact that Disneyland actually has a good amount of things to do that are related to Star Wars is really cool. We're gonna check this one off of my bucket list here shortly. We're gonna be there for May the 4th here in just a couple short months, so very excited for that. But just to be able to check out all the cool offerings they have and do the lightsaber meet and greet,
yes.
There's just so many cool things that we would love to do on May the 4th, and we're gonna be checking off a lot of those things here coming up on May the 4th this year.
All right, so my number 3 would definitely be to take a VIP tour. It's something that I've always wanted to do. It's something that I see people doing. I just always want to jump on it. I wish I could actually just get in line and be like, yeah, I'm with the tour. Just because I want to hear about all the cool behind the scenes, information. I know there's the tours that will also let you get to the front of these lines. One time I was waiting in line and just see this VIP tour guy just unclick the gate and just let the person into the front. And then from then on, I wanted that to be me. So that's definitely something I want to do, is take a VIP tour.
All right, for my number 3, make that 33, I would love to have a meal in Club 33. This is something that I'm not personally gonna be able to afford a membership for myself. At least I don't see that happening. But I would love to have a meal there, and that's only gonna happen if I'm invited by somebody that's already a current member. So anybody out there that actually knows somebody, maybe you're a member yourself and want to invite us to go get a meal there, this is something we would love to do. Obviously the legends of Club 33 are huge. We walk by there every single time we're in the parks, and that's just the fact that that's a place that Walt Disney personally had set aside to entertain his own guests. I would just love to experience that once in my life. So I hear the food there is great. It's got awesome drinks there. One of the only places in Disneyland where you can get a drink. But just to check out that environment in person, I would love to be a part of that. All right, next up on my Disney bucket list is to have you be a subscriber to this channel. If you haven't yet, what are you waiting for? We just got to celebrate hitting 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. So if you're not part of that group yet, go ahead and hit that button, because there's lots of awesome Disney content headed your way, including giveaways, right? We like to give away prizes to our followers, to our community, and we love to interact with everybody. So if you haven't hit that button yet, go ahead and do so right now.
It's red, hit it. Can't miss it.
It's not red anymore.
What color is it?
It's white.
Hit the white button. And my number 2 is Club 33 also. So I know that was his number 3. My number 2 is Club 33. Every time I go with my wife or with Brian, like every time we're there, like one big photo opportunity is taking a photo in front of Club 33. I've caught a few people coming out. I didn't try to reach for the door and go in. I could have, I didn't. But yes, like he said before, I know it's kind of at this point for us, it's more invite only because there's definitely no way we could afford that membership. There's just lots of lore behind it. I love, like Brian said earlier, just the fact that Walt Disney himself wanted this to be, a thing for him to entertain. I just think, us being able to go would just be an amazing opportunity to kind of feel like Walt's entertaining us, if that makes sense. But yep, that's my number 2. So if you're out there,
and my number 2 on my bucket list is actually the same as Jacob's number 3. So our 2 and 3 kind of swap places with each other. But for number 2 for me, it's the VIP tour. This is something that would be incredible just because, like Jacob said, I love to hear the backstage information and the cool stories that the cast members and the tour guides have to offer. But also, something a little bit different on mine, I specifically would love to do a VIP tour with Philander Butler, right? If you guys have ever followed him on Instagram, we'll leave a link down in the description.
Jump on that.
Really, really cool with all the information he's got about the history of Disneyland especially. And so I would just love to take that information in, not to mention get to the front of all the lines for the rides, right? But just to have that tailor-made experience. I've heard from several people that once you've had a VIP tour, just completely changes the way that you see Disneyland. So at one point in my life, that is something that needs to happen.
All right, so for my number 1 is, for me, I would love to meet an Imagineer in Disneyland. I think that'd be just one of the coolest thing ever. Just be, walking around and then just kind of notice one of the Imagineers and be like, just start talking to them about what they were thinking when they were designing something, or just, it doesn't even need to be an Imagineer who designed a specific ride. It could be any Imagineer. I've always wanted to talk to them, dig into their brain, just, find out why they were thinking what they were thinking at the time. I just think we could have a lot of good conversation, and it would just check my number 1 thing off the bucket list. So that's definitely one of them, is just meet an Imagineer.
And for my number 1 item on the bucket list is to visit one of the international Disneyland parks. And specifically for me, it's either Paris or Tokyo. Both of those are really close. I couldn't necessarily pick one over the other, but they've got so many unique things that are not offered in the States. And we've been to Disneyland quite a few times. I've been to Magic Kingdom a couple times, but from what I hear from the international parks, it's just a completely different experience. So when the day does come that I can visit one or both of those parks, that is something that is just something I'm looking forward to, just for the unique experience to see the perspective, especially in Tokyo. I think that might actually that might edge out Paris for me, because of the different perspective that the Japanese have when it comes to theme parks. Right, I have heard that the Tokyo parks especially, they feel a lot more like what Disneyland was back 30, 40 years ago. So, but again, just a really cool different perspective of the Disney experience, and someday that one is definitely going to be checked off my list.
So what do you guys think? Is there anything on your bucket list that we may have not mentioned? If so, let us know in the comments below. What's on your bucket list when it comes to the Disney parks?
When you guys leave a comment down below, we respond to as many of those as we can. We try to get to those right away. So if you leave a comment, we're definitely going to get back to you. But and as an honorable mention, one of the things that I actually got to check off my bucket list earlier this year was visiting Walt Disney's apartment. If you would like to learn all about that experience, we're going to have that video popping up on the screen right now. And just a big thank you to everybody that was part of that 1,000 subscriber celebration.
Woo!
I want to give a shout out to all you guys. We really appreciate the support. And as always,
thanks for watching.